Picture a world untouched by the footprints of humankind, where the land stretches endlessly beneath a sky heavy with ancient clouds. Across these vast plains, herds of colossal creatures move in slow, thunderous procession, their presence shaping the very rhythm of the land. The Ice Age reigns supreme, its glaciers carving valleys, and its winds sweeping over endless fields of frostbitten grass. Amidst this frozen expanse, the giant bears emerge, majestic, formidable, and utterly at home in the chill. Unlike the bears of today, these ancient titans are sculpted by the harshness of their world, their forms built for survival in a realm of giants. Towering above the tundra, their massive bodies cast long shadows, each step a testament to their strength and dominance. When they rise on their hind legs, they seem to touch the sky, their gaze sweeping across the icy horizon in search of movement. Their paws, broad and powerful, leave prints deep in the snow, marks as wide as the plates that would one day grace distant tables. From the crest of a hill, a giant bear lifts its head and roars, the sound rolling across the plains, a declaration of its rule over this wild domain. The world transforms beneath their feet, seasons shifting, glaciers advancing and retreating. Yet the bears endure, adapting with every change. In the golden light of a low sun, they thunder across the frozen plains, their shadows stretching far behind, silent witnesses to their relentless pursuit of life. These bears share their world with other titans, woolly mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant sloths, each species a master of its own domain, yet all bound together in the struggle for survival. The landscape is alive with drama. A bear confronts a pack of saber-toothed cats over a fallen prey, while mammoths graze in the distance. Wary but unchallenged, with a single swipe, the bear asserts its dominance, scattering lesser predators and claiming the spoils of the hunt. The scale of life here is staggering. Creatures of every size and shape, each adapted to the relentless demands of the Ice Age. The bones of these bears, buried deep beneath layers of earth and ice, hold the secrets of their existence, stories written in the language of stone, teeth worn by years of gnawing on bone and root, footprints frozen in ancient mud, each a clue to the life once lived. The thickness of a leg bone reveals the weight these giants carried, the power that surged through their limbs as they roamed the wilds. The shape of their teeth tells of their varied diets. Some were hunters, their fangs sharp and deadly, others omnivores, feasting on berries, roots, and whatever the land provided. In the wild, they stalked the snow-laden forests, foraged among the rocks and fished in icy rivers, their every action a dance of survival. The land remembers them in fragments, bones unearthed by shifting earth, footprints revealed by melting ice, each discovery a whisper from a vanished world. Across continents, different bears rise, each uniquely shaped by their environment, each a marvel of adaptation and strength. In the sweeping grasslands of the south, the largest bear ever known stands tall, its presence commanding the open plains. In the north, a bear built for speed races across the steppe, its powerful limbs propelling it in pursuit of prey or rival. In the sun-baked lands of Africa, another bear crushes bones with jaws of immense power, feasting on the bounty of its domain. Deep within the caves of Europe, a giant bear curls into hibernation, its breath misting in the cold air, awaiting the return of spring. Each bear, each environment, tells a story of evolution, of battles fought, of seasons endured, of a world in constant motion. And as the ages pass, their mighty forms fade into the mist, leaving only footprints in the snow and echoes in the stones, a legacy of giants, forever woven into the fabric of the ancient earth. Deep in the prehistoric past of South America, a true giant roamed the land, an animal whose presence shaped the very world around it. This was Arctotherium angustidens, the South American giant short-faced bear, the undisputed king of all bears and the largest to ever walk the earth. Fossils unearthed from the ancient soils of Argentina reveal a creature of almost mythical proportions, with bones so thick and robust they hint at a life of raw power and constant movement. When Arctotherium stood upright, it soared to a staggering 14 feet, towering over the other megafauna of its time, its bulk casting a shadow across the plains. Weighing over 4,000 pounds, this bear was a living force of nature, its every step sending tremors through the Ice Age Earth, its presence felt by every creature in its domain. Its skull was a fortress, housing jaws and teeth capable of crushing bone and sinew, a testament to its role as both predator and scavenger. Yet, despite its fearsome appearance, Arctotherium was an omnivore, its daily life a constant search for sustenance across the vast and varied landscapes of ancient South America. Its diet was as diverse as the land itself: berries plucked from thorny bushes, grasses grazed in open meadows, and the remains of fallen megafauna, all consumed with equal vigor. Arctotherium's hunting strategies were as varied as its meals. It could stalk slow-moving herbivores, relying on bursts of speed and overwhelming strength, or simply use its size to intimidate other predators, driving them from their kills and claiming the prize for itself. Its keen sense of smell was legendary, allowing it to detect the faintest scent of food from miles away. Whether it was the sweetness of ripe fruit or the musk of a distant carcass, each day was a test of endurance and adaptability. The giant bear's immense size demanded a constant intake of calories, forcing it to roam vast territories and adapt to the ever-changing climate and food supply. As the environment shifted and resources became scarce, the very traits that made Arctotherium a ruler, its size, strength, and appetite, became challenges to its survival. But while it reigned, Arctotherium angustidens shaped the ecosystem around it. Its predation and scavenging helped control populations of other large animals, and its foraging spread seeds and nutrients across the land, leaving a lasting mark on the ancient world. For a time, the king of all bears was the most formidable force on the continent, a living legend whose story is written in the bones and landscapes it once ruled. The saga of the giant South American bear, Arctotherium, is inseparable from a profound evolutionary journey, one that began with the Great American Biotic Interchange, a natural event that forever altered the fate of bear lineages. For eons, North and South America existed as isolated worlds, their animal populations evolving along separate paths, divided by a vast oceanic barrier. In this isolation, each continent became a cradle for unique evolutionary experiments, with distinct species of mammals, birds, and reptiles adapting to their own environments. Then, about 3 million years ago, tectonic forces thrust up the Isthmus of Panama, forging a slender land bridge, a literal evolutionary corridor between the continents. This bridge became a thoroughfare for a wave of animal migrations, unleashing a cascade of evolutionary consequences. The land bridge was a meeting point for two evolutionary worlds, allowing species to cross into unfamiliar territories and encounter new ecological challenges. North American animals, including the ancestors of bears, ventured south, while South American species began their own northward journeys. These migrations sparked unprecedented interactions, predators and prey meeting for the first time, igniting evolutionary arms races and new adaptations. Among the northern invaders were bears, saber-toothed cats, camels, and horses, species that brought new predatory strategies and competition to South America. Meanwhile, South American giants like ground sloths, glyptodonts, and terror birds pressed into the north, testing their evolutionary mettle in new lands. The resulting mingling of species transformed both continents, driving rapid adaptation, competition, and the emergence of new ecological niches. Among the most significant migrants were the ancestors of the short-faced bears, whose journey south would set the stage for evolutionary greatness. Upon arrival, these bears discovered a land rich in opportunity, vast plains and forests teeming with unfamiliar herbivores. The native herbivores, having evolved in the absence of large mammalian predators, were slow and unaccustomed to the threat posed by these new arrivals. For the early bears, this was an ecological paradise, an environment with abundant prey and little competition from other carnivores. With plentiful food and minimal rivals, these bears flourished, their populations growing and their bodies adapting to the bounty. Over generations, the lack of predatory pressure and the abundance of resources allowed them to evolve into giants, culminating in the colossal Arctotherium angustidens. The South American wilderness became the perfect crucible for the rise of these massive bears. This evolutionary journey is a testament to the power of environment in shaping life, as species adapt, diversify, and sometimes become giants. The bears that crossed the land bridge were not yet titans, but the unique pressures and opportunities of their new home drove their transformation. The Great American Biotic Interchange stands as a powerful example of how geological change can spark evolutionary innovation, connecting distant worlds and reshaping the destinies of entire lineages. The emergence of the mightiest bear in history was the direct result of this evolutionary bridge, a story of migration, adaptation, and the relentless shaping force of nature, with no human presence to witness the rise of these ancient giants. While Arctotherium was ruling the south, its close cousin, Arctodus, the North American giant short-faced bear, dominated the northern continent, carving out a reign of power across the vast, untamed wilderness. Though slightly smaller than its southern relative, Arctodus was still a colossal beast, standing up to 13 feet tall on its hind legs and weighing over 2,000 pounds. Its sheer presence alone could scatter herds of prey across the plains. But what truly set Arctodus apart was not just its size, but its astonishing speed and hunting prowess. Scientists consider it to have been the fastest bear that ever lived, a predator built for relentless pursuit. Its long, slender legs and lighter bone structure were engineered for running, allowing it to reach speeds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, matching the pace of the swiftest prey on the Ice Age plains. Arctodus was a master of the chase, using its speed to close the distance on herds of prehistoric horses, camels, and antelope. It would stalk from the cover of sparse brush or low hills, then burst into a sprint, relying on surprise and raw power to isolate a weaker or younger animal from the group. Its forward-pointing toes, much like those of a dog or cat, gave it a more efficient, energy-saving stride, perfect for long pursuits across the open terrain. The bear's forward-set eyes provided excellent binocular vision, allowing it to judge distances with pinpoint accuracy, crucial for timing its final charge and intercepting fleeing prey. Its prey included not only swift-footed horses and antelope, but also the young of massive Ice Age giants like mammoths and mastodons. Arctodus would target the vulnerable, using its speed to outmaneuver protective adults and its strength to bring down even the most formidable quarry. After a successful hunt, it would stand guard over its kill, using its intimidating size and ferocity to drive off any would-be scavengers or rival predators. The short, broad snout that gives the bear its name housed an enormous nasal cavity, a feature that played a vital role in its survival. This adaptation granted Arctodus an extraordinary sense of smell, perhaps the keenest among all mammalian predators, allowing it to detect prey or carrion from miles away. When hunting was scarce, it could follow scent trails across the windswept plains, tracking down carcasses left behind by other predators or natural deaths, ensuring it rarely went hungry. The large nasal passage also allowed it to take in huge amounts of oxygen while running, fueling its powerful muscles during the most intense chases. Its jaws were armed with massive teeth, capable of slicing through flesh and crushing bone. This meant Arctotherium could consume every part of its kill, from muscle to marrow, leaving little behind for competitors. Fossil evidence reveals that Arctotherium roamed a vast range, from the icy tundra of Alaska to the arid plains of Mexico, adapting to a variety of environments and prey. It was a true master of its domain, a super predator that sat at the very top of the food chain, shaping the ecosystem around it. Yet life was not without challenges. Arctotherium shared its world with other formidable predators: saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, and packs of large canids. Fierce confrontations over territory and food were inevitable, and only the strongest survived. For thousands of years, this running giant was the terror of the North American plains, a relentless hunter, a cunning scavenger, and a survivor in a world of giants and predators, perfectly adapted to the challenges of its time. Long before the Ice Age giants, another massive bear prowled a different continent. This was Arctotherium, a prehistoric bear that lived in Africa, Asia, and North America around 5 million years ago. The African species was particularly impressive, thriving in a hot climate and competing with some of the most fearsome predators of the Pliocene epoch. Arctotherium stood out for its unique anatomy. Unlike modern bears, it had a lean, muscular build, with a deep chest and long, powerful limbs. Its body shape was so robust and athletic that some scientists compare it to a giant, bear-like lion. This bear could stand over 10 feet tall at full stretch and weighed close to 2,000 pounds, making it one of the largest terrestrial predators of its time. Its skull was massive, with a broad snout and exceptionally strong jaws. Arctotherium possessed some of the most powerful jaws of any mammalian predator ever known, supported by enormous jaw muscles anchored to a reinforced skull. Its teeth were highly specialized for crushing bone. The molars were broad and flat, perfect for grinding, while the canines were thick and conical, ideal for puncturing and tearing flesh. This anatomy allowed Arctotherium to consume not just the meat, but also the bones of its prey, extracting every possible nutrient. Its diet likely consisted of large herbivores, such as ancient horses, rhinos, and antelopes. With its bone-crushing bite, it could devour entire carcasses, leaving little for other carnivores or scavengers. As a hypercarnivore, Arctotherium played a crucial role in the ecosystem. It was not only a top predator, but also an efficient recycler, breaking down bones and remains that other predators could not consume. In Africa, Arctotherium shared its world with formidable competitors, including giant hyenas and saber-toothed cats. These predators often gathered at kills, creating intense competition for food. In this environment, Arctotherium's size and bite force gave it a distinct advantage, allowing it to dominate feeding sites and outcompete rivals for resources. It was likely the apex predator of its time, capable of defending its kills from any challengers and even intimidating other large carnivores into surrendering their meals. Its long, powerful legs suggest it was a surprisingly fast runner for its size, able to chase down prey or quickly reach carcasses before competitors arrived. Arctotherium was a bear built for a world of giants, a predator that carved out its niche through sheer, bone-shattering force and remarkable adaptability. The story of Arctotherium reveals that giant bears were not just a feature of the cold Ice Age, but also thrived in warm, predator-rich environments. These ancient bears demonstrate the incredible adaptability of their family, evolving to dominate a variety of climates and ecosystems. Arctotherium was a different kind of giant, one built not for enduring icy winds, but for thriving in the heat and competition of ancient Africa's savannas. Its existence pushes back the timeline of giant bears and reveals a fascinating chapter in their evolutionary history, a time when a bear with a devastating bite ruled the wilds of Africa. During the same ice age that saw Arctotherium roaming North America, another giant bear thrived in the wild frozen landscapes of Europe. This was Ursus spelaeus, the European cave bear. Towering over 10 feet tall and weighing more than 2,000 pounds, the cave bear was a true giant of its time. With a massive skull, powerful limbs and long claws, it looked every bit as formidable as any predator. Yet, beneath this intimidating exterior, the cave bear led a peaceful existence. Unlike its carnivorous relatives, it was primarily a herbivore, spending its days foraging for plants. The secret to its gentle lifestyle lies in its teeth. Fossilized teeth reveal large, flat surfaces, heavily worn from grinding tough vegetation. This is the mark of an animal adapted to a diet of roots, grasses, and berries. The cave bear's meals were made up of the lush plant life that flourished during the brief Ice Age summers. While it could defend itself against predators, it rarely sought out conflict, preferring to avoid confrontation. Its long claws, though intimidating, were perfect tools for digging up roots and tearing apart tough plants. Cave bears often gathered in peaceful groups, their social interactions gentle and calm, a testament to their non-aggressive nature. The name cave bear comes from its most famous habit, seeking shelter in the deep, dark caves of Europe. These caves, nestled in mountain ranges like the Alps and Carpathians, became sanctuaries for generations of bears. As winter's chill descended, the bears would retreat into these shelters, huddling together to hibernate through the long, harsh months. Sometimes, entire groups would sleep side by side, their bodies conserving warmth in the darkness. Over thousands of years, the floors of these caves became layered with the bones of countless generations, creating a rich fossil record. The cave bear also shared its world with other Ice Age animals, wolves, cave lions, and woolly rhinoceroses, each carving out their own existence in the frozen wilderness. In the depths of winter, the caves echoed with the quiet breathing of hibernating bears, while outside, the snowy forests teemed with life and danger. The cave bear's gentle lifestyle and unique cave-dwelling habits set it apart from the fierce predators of its age. But as the climate shifted and the vegetation it depended on began to disappear, the cave bear's world slowly faded away. The story of the cave bear is a poignant reminder that even the mightiest creatures can be gentle, and that survival often depends on harmony with the world around them. The lineage of bears in Africa, which began with giants like Arctotherium, finds its poignant conclusion in the tale of the Atlas bear, Ursus arctos crowtheri. The Atlas bear was the only bear species native to Africa in modern times, a unique subspecies of the brown bear, and the last representative of its kind on the continent. Unlike its prehistoric ancestors, the Atlas bear was not a giant, but a medium-sized bear, adapted to a very different world. It thrived in the rugged, sun-baked Atlas Mountains of North Africa, where arid slopes, rocky outcrops, and sparse vegetation shaped its way of life. Measuring around 6 to 7 feet in length and weighing between 600 and 900 pounds, the Atlas bear was similar in size to the European brown bear, yet uniquely suited to its environment. Its powerful limbs and sturdy build allowed it to traverse steep rocky slopes and navigate the harsh, mountainous terrain with ease. The Atlas bear had a lean body, a shorter, sparser coat of dark brown or black fur to cope with the heat, and long, strong claws for digging up roots and burrowing for shelter. Its diet was primarily plant-based, consisting of roots, acorns, and other vegetation found among the rocks. But it also consumed insects and scavenged on carrion when available. The Atlas bear was largely nocturnal, emerging under the cover of darkness to forage and conserve water and energy during the cooler nights. It preferred the solitude of remote, rugged mountain regions, keeping to the shadows and avoiding open areas. The Atlas bear's elusive nature made it a rare sight, its presence marked only by tracks and the occasional glimpse in the wild. For thousands of years, the Atlas bear roamed forests and valleys that once blanketed the mountains, adapting as the climate shifted and woodlands gave way to drier, more open terrain. It relied on the seasonal abundance of food, moving between elevations to find roots, fruits, and water sources as the landscape changed throughout the year. During the hottest parts of the day, the Atlas bear would seek shelter in caves or burrows, emerging only when the sun dipped low. Over time, as the environment changed and resources became scarce, the Atlas bear retreated further into the most inaccessible reaches of the mountains. Its numbers dwindled, and the once widespread bear became a rare and vanishing presence, its story fading into the silence of the highlands. The gradual loss of habitat, as forests receded and arid conditions spread, left the Atlas bear with fewer places to find food and shelter. As the wild spaces of the Atlas Mountains shrank, the bear's world grew ever smaller, and its survival became increasingly precarious. The last Atlas bears vanished from the mountains in the late 19th century, leaving behind only traces in the dust and echoes in the empty valleys. With their disappearance, the ancient lineage of bears in Africa came to a quiet and final end. The story of the Atlas bear stands as a solemn reminder of the fragility of life in a changing world, and the silent loss of a unique and ancient species from the wild places it once called home. For millions of years the giant bears roamed vast continents, their reign seemingly unchallenged, yet their time on Earth came to a dramatic and inevitable end. There was no single cataclysm, but rather a relentless convergence of environmental, biological and ecological forces that spelled doom for these magnificent titans. The most profound of these was the end of the last ice age, beginning around 20,000 years ago. As the world warmed, the colossal ice sheets that had blanketed the northern hemisphere began to melt away. This dramatic shift in climate transformed the very fabric of the world the giant bears had mastered. The warming trend devastated the bears' food supply, stripping the land of the abundance it once offered. The vast open steppes and plains, teeming with herds of mammoths, prehistoric horses, and giant bison, began to shrink and fade. In their place, dense forests and unfamiliar vegetation crept across the land, forever altering the ecosystem. The carnivorous giants, like Arctotherium, found their prey vanishing, the open hunting grounds replaced by tangled woods. Even the herbivorous cave bear faced hardship, as the specific plants it relied on became scarce in the New World. The entire food web was in turmoil, shifting beneath the feet of the giant bears as their world unraveled. Their immense size, once a symbol of dominance, became a burden in a world that no longer favored giants. Such colossal bodies demanded vast amounts of food that was now vanishing. As resources dwindled, the megabears grew thin, desperate and weak, unable to find enough sustenance. Meanwhile, their smaller relatives thrived, needing less food and adapting quickly to the new forests. These nimble survivors could live on berries, plants, and small prey, flourishing where the giants could not. The giant bears were specialists, perfectly tuned to a world that was slipping away, unable to adapt quickly enough to the relentless pace of change. In the end, it was the unstoppable forces of climate, ecology, and biology, nature itself, that brought the age of the giant bears to a close. Their story is a haunting reminder of how even the mightiest can fall when the world they know disappears forever. The extinction of the great bears like Arctotherium and Arctodus marked the end of an era of giants. The world had changed, and the conditions that allowed these titans to thrive were gone forever. The future belonged not to the biggest and the strongest, but to the most adaptable. Smaller, more versatile bears were the ones that survived. They could live in the new forests, eat a wider variety of foods, and better avoid the growing presence of humans. These survivors are the ancestors of the 8 species of bear that we know today, from the polar bear in the Arctic to the sun bear in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia. One of the most fascinating survivors is the spectacled bear of South America. This small, shy, and primarily herbivorous bear is the last remaining short-faced bear in the world. It is a direct descendant of the same lineage that produced the colossal Arctotherium angustidens. Looking at the gentle, spectacled bear, it is difficult to imagine that its ancestor was the largest land carnivore of its time. The story of its evolution is a perfect example of downsizing for survival. As the great herds of South America disappeared, the bear lineage adapted by becoming smaller and shifting to a plant-based diet, allowing it to survive in the Andean cloud forests. The legacy of the giant bears is a powerful lesson about the nature of life on Earth. It teaches us that no species, no matter how dominant or powerful, is guaranteed to last forever. The planet is in a constant state of change, and the ability to adapt is the ultimate key to survival. The giants ruled when the world was cold and full of massive prey, but when the environment shifted, their reign came to an end. Their story is a humbling reminder of the immense power of climate change and the delicate balance of ecosystems. Today, when we look at a modern brown bear or a black bear, we are seeing the heirs of this incredible prehistoric legacy. They carry the genetic heritage of a long and dramatic history, a story of giants and survivors. The fossils of the great bears are more than just old bones. They are windows into a lost world, reminding us of the incredible diversity of life that our planet has supported. But the story of the bears is not just one of loss, it is one of resilience, adaptation, and hope. In the far north, the polar bear has mastered the frozen world, evolving thick fur, powerful limbs, and a keen sense of smell to hunt seals across the shifting ice. In the steamy jungles of Southeast Asia, the sun bear thrives with its small size, curved claws, and an extraordinary tongue for reaching honey and insects deep within tree trunks. The sloth bear of India has adapted to a diet of termites and ants, using its flexible lips and shaggy coat to survive in forests and grasslands. The spectacled bear, high in the Andes, climbs steep slopes and forages for fruit and bromeliads, a living testament to the power of adaptation. The American black bear, with its remarkable versatility, swims rivers, climbs trees, and finds food in every corner of the forest, from berries to nuts to fish. The brown bear, from the forests of Eurasia to the mountains of North America, is a master of many worlds, fishing for salmon, digging for roots, and roaming vast territories. The Asiatic black bear, with its moon-shaped chest patch, finds sanctuary in mountain forests, feeding on fruit, nuts, and leaves. Even the giant panda, once a carnivore, has become a specialist, thriving on bamboo in the misty mountains of China. Across the world, bear cubs play, learn, and grow, inheriting the wisdom of countless generations, each one a new chapter in the ongoing story of survival. The legacy of the giant bears lives on in every paw print, every foraging expedition, every new dawn in the wild places of our planet. The 8 surviving species of bear are living proof that life endures, adapts, and flourishes, even after the mightiest have fallen. Their story is not just a memory of the past, but a promise for the future, a reminder that the spirit of the giants endures in every bear that walks the earth today. Long before the age of the giant bears, the world was a very different place. Travel back over 30 million years to a time when dense forests and sprawling wetlands covered the land. Here, the earliest bear ancestors took their first tentative steps into a world ruled by colossal predators and strange herbivores. These distant ancestors, known as amphicyonids, or bear dogs, were neither true bears nor true dogs, but something in between. With powerful jaws, elongated bodies, and a curious mixture of features, they roamed the ancient woodlands and riverbanks, hunting and scavenging in the shadows of even larger beasts. As the ages passed, climate and continents shifted, and the bear lineage slowly began to take shape. By the Miocene epoch, around 20 million years ago, the first true bears emerged. They were small, nimble, and adaptable, living alongside saber-toothed cats, mastodons, and towering rhinos. These early bears were omnivores, feasting on fruits, roots, insects, and carrion, an adaptable diet that would become a hallmark of their descendants. Over millions of years, some bear lineages grew larger, evolving into the giants that would one day dominate Ice Age landscapes. Driven by changing climates and abundant prey, these prehistoric bears developed massive bodies and powerful muscles, perfect for stalking the megafauna of their time. Imagine vast plains where the earth trembled under the footsteps of mammoths and ground sloths, while giant short-faced bears patrolled the open spaces, unrivaled in strength and speed. In the dense forests of Europe and Asia, cave bears carved out their own domain, thriving in the cold, dark heart of the Pleistocene. Yet the journey from small, adaptable omnivores to Ice Age titans was not a straight path. It was a story of constant transformation, of evolution responding to the ever-changing world. Each adaptation, a broader skull, a more powerful limb, a varied diet, was a step on the winding road that led to the giants. The legacy of the Great Bears is rooted deep in this ancient past, in the shadowy forests and open plains where their ancestors first learned to survive. Their story is woven into the fabric of Earth's history, a testament to the power of evolution and the endless dance of life and change. What made the giant bears such formidable rulers of their ancient worlds? The answer lies in their remarkable adaptations, nature's toolkit, forged over countless generations to meet the challenges of their time. First, their senses. Giant bears boasted an extraordinary sense of smell, far surpassing that of most modern animals. With noses finely tuned to detect scents across miles, they could locate hidden prey or carrion, even beneath layers of snow or thick forest canopies. Their keen hearing allowed them to sense danger or opportunity long before it appeared. Physically, these bears were marvels of strength. Massive shoulder muscles, reinforced limbs and powerful jaws gave them the ability to tackle prey much larger than themselves, or to break open tough bones for the rich marrow inside. Some, like the short-faced bear, evolved long legs and a streamlined body, built for speed and endurance across open landscapes, making them both fierce hunters and relentless scavengers. Their claws, sharp and curved, were more than weapons. They were tools for digging, climbing, and tearing apart logs or carcasses. Thick fur and layers of fat insulated them against the harshest cold, while their size alone made them nearly invulnerable to most predators. But perhaps their greatest strength was adaptability. When prey was scarce, giant bears could switch to roots, berries, or even insects. Their omnivorous diet was a survival strategy that allowed them to thrive in changing climates and shifting ecosystems. Some developed seasonal behaviors, hibernating through the winter months, conserving energy until spring's return. Through these unique adaptations, the giant bears carved out a place at the top of the ancient food chain. Their legacy is not just in their size, but in the ingenious ways they survived and thrived in a world of giants. But in the world of the giant bears, they were never alone. Their ancient landscapes teemed with other colossal creatures, each vying for survival, each shaping the fate of the others. Picture a vast, windswept plain, where a massive short-faced bear stalks the shadows cast by herds of mammoths and mastodons. Here, every encounter was a test of strength, strategy, and nerve. Giant bears, with their immense size and power, often found themselves in tense standoffs with saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, and even packs of giant hyenas. These weren't mere competitions for food. They were high-stakes battles for territory and dominance. Sometimes, a bear would drive rivals off a carcass with a fearsome display, its roar echoing across the land. Other times, alliances of smaller predators would challenge the bear's claim, leading to dramatic, swirling confrontations, where victory was never guaranteed. In the forests, cave bears crossed paths with woolly rhinoceroses and giant deer. While these herbivores were not prey, they shaped the environment, trampling paths and altering the landscape in ways that affected what plants and animals could survive. The bears adapted, learning to exploit new food sources or avoid the heavy-footed giants that could unintentionally destroy their dens. These interactions created a dynamic web of life, each species' fate intertwined with the others. When a mammoth herd migrated or a predator pack moved on, the balance shifted, forcing the giant bears to adapt once more. Through conflict, competition, and coexistence, the ancient giants forged an ecosystem where only the most adaptable survived. In these epic encounters, the giant bears were both challengers and challenged, a testament to the relentless push and pull that defined the age of megafauna. As the world of the giant bears unfolded, it was not just rival beasts that shaped their destiny, but the very earth beneath their feet and the skies above their heads. Imagine a panorama shifting through deep time glaciers, creeping across continents, swallowing forests and grasslands in a slow, relentless advance. Temperatures plummet, and the landscape transforms into a frozen kingdom, where food grows scarce and only the hardiest survive. In these icy epochs, some bears evolved thick fur and layers of fat, becoming true titans of the cold. The cave bear found shelter in Europe's limestone caverns, hibernating through the harshest winters. The short-faced bear roamed open plains, its long legs built for covering vast distances in search of prey across the tundra. Farther south, as glaciers retreated, new forests and valleys emerged, inviting bears to adapt again, shifting their ranges to chase the changing seasons. But it wasn't always cold. At times, the ice melted back, rivers swelled, and green returned to the land. Warmth brought new challenges, dense woodlands, unpredictable rainfall, and fierce competition as animals crowded into shrinking habitats. Some bears vanished from regions they once ruled, unable to keep pace with the shifting world. Others found new niches, exploiting fresh sources of food or shelter. The story of giant bears is a tale written by climate, by the ebb and flow of ice and fire. Each dramatic swing in temperature forced these colossal creatures to change, migrate, and sometimes disappear. Their bones, scattered in ancient sediments, are silent witnesses to a world in flux. Even without a single human footprint, the land itself shaped the rise and fall of the planet's greatest bears. Beneath layers of earth and rock, the story of the giant bears waits to be uncovered. Over countless millennia, their massive bones settled into ancient riverbeds, caves, and windswept plains, hidden away from the world above. Time transformed flesh into fossil, preserving the shapes of enormous jaws, claws, and skulls in delicate stone. Within these silent tombs, the secrets of the giants lie encoded. Each fossilized tooth tells of a diet, whether the crushing molars of bone breakers or the flat grinders of gentle herbivores. Massive limb bones hint at how these bears moved, how they hunted, and how they survived in a world of extremes. Even the smallest fragments, claws, vertebrae, a single tooth, hold clues about the lives of ancient titans. Through careful study of these relics, patterns emerge. The spread of cave bear remains across Europe maps, forgotten migration routes. Layers of sediment reveal a timeline, when a species flourished, when it dwindled, and when it finally vanished. Fossilized pollen and plant matter trapped alongside the bones, whisper of vanished forests and tundra, painting a picture of the lost world these bears called home. The stones remember. In their silent language they reveal the rise and fall of the giant bears, piecing together a puzzle millions of years in the making. The bones are more than relics. They are echoes calling out across time, telling the true story of the giants who once ruled the wild. Imagine the world through the eyes of a giant bear. In the dim light of ancient forests or the pale glow of ice-age tundra, these colossal creatures roamed, sometimes alone, sometimes in the shadowy company of their own kind. What secrets did their lives hold? Fossil evidence whispers of more than just size and strength. Deep claw marks etched high on cave walls suggest towering bears rearing up, perhaps marking territory or sending silent signals to rivals or kin. Worn paths leading to sheltering caves hint at generations returning to the same safe havens, following rituals lost to time. In the cold months, some giants may have huddled in family groups, sharing warmth in the darkness of deep dens. Fossilized remains of young and old together suggest bonds beyond mere survival, perhaps mothers teaching cubs how to forage, elders guiding the way to hidden food caches. Paleontologists have found signs of healed bones and old injuries, evidence that some bears survived wounds with help from their kin. Did these giants care for their injured, or simply coexist in loose groups, each benefiting from the safety of numbers? On the open plains, massive males may have clashed, their roars and posturing echoing across the land. Yet, in quieter seasons, these titans may have tolerated one another, drawn together by plentiful food or shared water sources. The truth of their social lives lies between the lines of bone and earth, never fully revealed but always felt. Through the silent language of fossils, we glimpse not just how giant bears survived, but how they may have lived, loved, and endured together in a wild world forever vanished. The reign of the giant bears was not eternal. Across continents and eras, their thunderous footsteps gradually faded away. The story of their extinction is written in layers of earth, in sudden absences and silent gaps, where once their bones were plentiful. Some vanished at the close of the Pleistocene as the world's climate shifted with relentless force. Temperatures rose and fell in dramatic swings, reshaping forests into grasslands and ice sheets into rivers. Food sources dwindled. Prey animals migrated or disappeared. The delicate balance that sustained the mighty bears was undone. In North America, the mighty short-faced bear, Arctodus, began to decline as the last ice age waned. In Europe, the cave bears' numbers plummeted with each passing millennium, unable to adapt to the changing vegetation and harsher winters. Africa's atlas bear, too, faced relentless pressure as habitats shrank and seasons grew unpredictable. Disease, competition with other predators, and the relentless march of time all played their part. But the end was not a single cataclysm. It was a slow unraveling, decades turning to centuries, generations dwindling, the last echoes of their kind fading into legend. No single event, but a chorus of challenges, each one chipping away at the giant's dominion. In the silence that followed, new creatures rose to fill the void, but the memory of the great bears lingered, a testament to the fragile power of nature's most magnificent titans. Though the giant bears themselves are gone, their presence still echoes through the wild places of our world. In the forests where cave bears once roamed, the hollows and dens they left behind became sanctuaries for countless other animals, wolves, foxes, and even modern bears. Their ancient digging and foraging shaped the very soil, turning forests and meadows into richer habitats that support life to this day. Across North America, the absence of Arctodus opened new opportunities for other predators. Wolves and mountain lions, once kept in check by the giant's dominance, expanded their ranges and redefined the rhythm of the hunt. The prey animals, too, adapted. Herds grew swifter, more vigilant, their instincts shaped by generations of evading enormous hunters. In Africa, the vanished atlas bear left a gap in the ecosystem, one that smaller carnivores and scavengers rushed to fill. The patterns of bones and plant growth still bear silent witness to the bear's role as both predator and gardener of the land. Today's bears, grizzlies, polar bears, and pandas carry the legacy of their colossal ancestors in their genes and behaviors. Their foraging, digging, and even the way they hibernate all echo strategies once perfected by the giants. The balance they maintain in their habitats is a living reminder of an ancient lineage. The story of the giant bears is not just one of extinction, but of inheritance. Their influence is woven into the fabric of modern ecosystems, a testament to the enduring impact of nature's titans, long after their footsteps have faded from the earth.